Back. Our joint meeting here. First of all, thank you to everyone for coming, both councils. Some people couldn't make it, but I think this is a good start in having a joint workshop between the two communities to try to resolve our differences or common goals, if you will. What we're trying to do tonight is to create a dialogue, really, between the two communities. That'll open up the lines of communication so that when we do have problems, that we have a means to solve them in a decent manner, if you will. We've already identified from both councils a list of agenda items which will be discussed. Tonight we have 4 items on the agenda. And then we have, at this point in time, 2 other items for a future meeting. And it may be that if we don't get through these 4 items, we may have to carry these forward as well into a future meeting. But I would ask that we try to put some kind of time limit on tonight, because we are going to have future meetings. And if we can approach it in a manner that we can solve at least 1 or 2 problems and move forward, then we can keep this dialogue going and address all of the problems. So maybe, in the interest of what may be good or bad weather out there, I haven't looked out the window lately, but maybe we could shoot for about 9 o'clock. Would that be? Okay, so wherever we're at 9 o'clock, we'll basically adjourn. I'm sure, I won't speak for Bob. Bob's going to have some comments also, but I would say probably from the Fort Jervis Council's perspective, tonight being this is really a work session, we're not going to be voting to accept any proposals, but if we come to a position where we both agree on whatever items have been presented, that both boards will take those back, discuss them, bring them to their appropriate council tables, and make a motion or whatever is necessary to implement that change. Everyone agree? That'd be the process we would follow anyway. But I think if we can at least agree in principle as to where we're at, that'll allow us each to get some input in our respective council meetings. I just want to remind the public that this is a working session between the two boards, so we appreciate it if there was no interruptions in our discussions. I know a lot of people have excellent ideas and comments, but in the interest of us solving these problems, we need to talk directly to each other at this table so that we can share our thoughts and ideas. And I'm sure at each, our council, as well as Deer Parks, that you would allow, before you make any votes or decisions, allow public comment at those appropriate areas. With that, I'll turn it over to Mr. Cunningham.
Thank you, and I also would like to say thank you for everyone that showed up here tonight. It's a pleasure to be here, and hope that we can, as Mike said, open up a line of communications between the town and the city. We have many things, I think, in general, in common, that could be discussed and possibly save money for both municipalities. And the further we can go ahead with that and save money, the better it is for our taxpayers. And possibly the only other thing I'd want to add to what Mike has said, if it's at all possible, if we could come to an agreement on some of these things, that possibly we can get the political end out of it and let the department heads handle it after that if it's feasible with everybody. Sometimes politics gets too involved and the taxpayers pay for it.
I disagree. The department is handling anything.
Okay, let's stick with the agenda. I'm sure you'll have time for comment.
And if we could do that, it may be beneficial. If not, then everybody can have their comments on it. Thank you.
Let's turn to the first item for discussion, which is burning pit. And what I like to do is, if we could, I'd suggest we approach it on a general basis first, and let Mr. Brannon, who's our Department of Public Works Director, talk about actually brief everyone at this table on the operation and involved in running that. And, of course, the issue here is allowing Deer Park residents to use the burning pit facilities and the cost associated with it. Mr. Brandon, could you
Surely.
give us a brief overview, please?
What we call a burning pit is unique in my experience, the only one I've ever seen. It's actually two pits. They're holes in the ground, pushed out with a bulldozer some years ago. They measure about 125 feet square inside. And what was being dug down into the earth and having the excavated material pushed up around the banks are some 6 to 8 feet tall all the way around them. In operation, the material is dumped into one until it's full, and then we get a permit from the DEC to burn it off on the next rainy day when we won't set the woods on fire. And dumping continues into the second pit until we get the first one burned off and cleaned up. So we just alternate them that way on a batch process. Operation is comparatively simple. A man has to be on duty to see that only the correct burnable materials are placed in the pits. We can burn brush and branches, scrap lumber, wooden furniture, wooden kitchen chairs, tables, things of that kind. Inasmuch as wood smoke is deemed by the DEC to be comparatively harmless, the burning of the wood, although it makes some smoke, it's not harmful smoke. It's nice, clean, white smoke and doesn't put too much in the way of pollutants in the air. We're forbidden to burn anything that makes black smoke. That would be plastics or oils or greases, anything of that kind. No tires. And these things are all laid out in memoranda that have been issued by the department. The men who tend the gate are supposed to know these things, or they have a copy of the rules to look them up. And we advertise in the paper routinely. So it's not an unlimited burning, and it's not a burning of garbage. It's a selective burning of materials that are too bulky to economically haul to the landfill in Goshen, and which don't really require landfill space for their disposal. It requires that we have a man on duty, according to our present schedule, on Saturdays from 8 to 2. That's overtime. The men are happy to get the overtime. It's a lighter duty than they're used to through the week. And we have about a dozen men who have signed up for it, and they're taken in rotation. They open the gates on time, supposedly. We had a slip up here a while back. And when they receive customers, they find out, first of all, where they live, to make sure the material isn't coming in from the wrong areas. And then check the load to see that it is acceptable material, and check for a permit if they're a category of customer that should have a permit. And then they log them in on a sheet which is kept in our files and direct them to the proper burning location. We've expanded the operation somewhat to a scrap metal pile, a leaf composting pile. That's the bulk of our operation. We also have a little tire collection, but we don't encourage people to bring them to it because it costs us money to get rid of them. The tires generally accumulate from what we find on the streets or mixed in with the garbage and so on. Once a month, the first full week of each month, we keep it open right through the day and through the week. Hours then are 7:30 to 3, and that's Monday through Friday in addition to the Saturday hours. After these fellows have superintended the operation until a pit is full and we get our permit to burn it, then we wait for a good rainy day when the kids are around or so, set fire to it, and we have to watch it for a 24-hour period. So that involves having a man on duty through the day to see that the fire doesn't get away from us, and then having a couple more men watch it through the night, again at overtime, until the next working day. And then as the fire cools down, we scrape up the ashes, and as they accumulate to a burdensome degree, we have to hire a container and have them hauled to the landfill at New Hampton, and we have to pay for the rental on the container, for the hauling to New Hampton, and for the tipping fees as they're disposed of in the landfill. The typical operation comes to about $3,000 for a cycle of filling one pit, running it, and removing the ashes. Did I miss anything?
How many times a year do you do this?
It varies considerably. I'd say currently about 4 to 5 times a year.
That's an average over the last few years, 4 to 5 times.
Well, no, it isn't. It's my best guess. Until 2 years ago, we had a spring cleanup and sometimes a fall cleanup, and that removed a lot of material from circulation. That material now is coming into the containers and the burning pit. It's not collected in the cleanup, so it doesn't just disappear. It comes to us by other routes. And my guess is that 4 to 5 times a year will be typical in the future.
Tom, for the benefit of Deer Park, the breakdown you gave the council is $3,500. That's an additional $2,000 a year if it's 4 times a year.
The last burn-off,
Okay?
$3,500
To take to
for the total burn.
do the burn and take the ashes away, total.
One burn, one load of ashes.
No, not one load.
One burn is not one load of ashes.
It's about 26 ton, over 26 ton, at $60 a ton. At one time, prior to us getting a burning pit permit, we could use the ashes to put on our landfill.
Right.
But we had to go through the procedure of getting the burning pit permit. And we had to show proof that we had a place to dump it. They wouldn't let us dump in our own landfill, which wouldn't cost us nothing. We had to go at $60 a ton over the Goshen.
Let me just rephrase the question so that I understand exactly. One burn and the cost to remove those ashes is $3,500?
That's
That was
my
the
guess
last one
reading
that-
from my report, yeah.
See, let's go back a little bit, until we got this burning pit permit for 5 years, we didn't have to, only had to go up there and tell the DEC we're gonna burn. Then we used to take our ashes and take it to our landfill and cover them and do what we had to do with them. But on the application to the burning pit permit from the DEC, which we paid $3,000 for, the engineer had to fill it out. We had to have proof that we're taking it to a landfill. And we had to get a letter from the county that will accept our ashes. And that's why this is built up at $60 a ton now. It might go up to $100. We don't know.
Is that a one-time fee, John?
For 5 years, if they let us have it. It costs us $5,000 in 1 year to get that permit. I mean, $3,000 in 1 year to get that permit.
But the permit is good for 5 years.
As of right now. But you don't know the DEC regulations 6 months down the road from now, or a year from now. Me and Warren went up to, New Falls, me and Warren went up to, up near Ellenville, see DEC. And it's just a process you had to go through to get the permit. And we finally got it.
In other words, that permit cost should be actually spread over each of these burns also, should it not?
Should be spread over a period of 5 years, whatever.
Thanks, Tom. Do you have any more questions on just the general operation? I guess the first question we would have to ask of Deer Park is, do you want to participate in the burn pit? Otherwise, there's no need to discuss the burning pit with you. I know you have in the past, and that's how this issue has come up. Is there an interest in continuing?
I think there should be some interest there. I mean, like I said, we won't make a decision tonight, but at least we have some figures to work off of now. And it depends on how we're gonna do this. If we're gonna do this as a part-time, or let's say a part of the town, or is the whole city and the whole town gonna participate? The last time we had permits, or there would have to be some kind of a permit issue. I know on Deer Park, whether the charge for it there or not, I wouldn't suspect it would be, but there would have to be some way to identify those people coming into the burn pit, so that you knew you didn't have people coming in other than from Deer Park. There'd have to be some type of identification. But my question is it gonna be open to all the residents and all the residents of the city? It's gonna make a difference in how the money works out.
Maybe what we could do is take the costs and break them down to see if we can come to a common agreement on some of the costs involved.
Well, the burning permit, to answer your question now, is open to all residents of City of Port Jervis.
Yes.
Okay, so if you're gonna participate, I would assume you would open up to your constituents, to your.
All residents.
It was,
All
it was
residents.
open to all residents before, wasn't it?
It was-
To obtain the permit?
On
On a
a permit
permit
basis,
basis.
wasn't it?
On a permit basis for the city, right? They had to go to the city to get the permit. Yeah, but anybody could have come and got it.
Exactly, if they were a resident.
Tom, you mentioned that when a load is brought in, it's logged and a record is kept of it.
We log it in to the extent of listing the license number and the permit number on his hand.
That might be a way of determining a way to share the cost. If we can look at a monthly record and see that 45% of the amount brought in was Deer Park material, well, then maybe we can fix costs based on that kind of split. I don't know.
Well, see, there's another end to that is, you also have the opportunity. There are fixed costs involved in keeping the burning pit open. And, if it's open to the Deer Park residents to use, there are fixed costs involved in just having that availability. So you couldn't really say 10 people who had permits came in that month and used it, therefore, that's the volume that you should pay. Because you
But
have there are costs involved in giving you the opportunity for 50 people to come in or whatever.
Yeah, no,
100 people to
yes,
come in.
I understand that.
Yeah.
It may, but that percentage may be a way of dealing with the ash disposal or something. I mean, it may be a factor into it.
I think in the past, didn't the Deer Park, Jim Hinckley, didn't the Deer Park people pay a certain amount for the permit?
The permit fee,
How much was that?
$5,
$5?
$5 permit.
Let's assume you were participating and there was a burn, and we have there's a cost incurred for the burn watch, the labor, for somebody to stand there and watch the burn. There's a cost for loading the containers, there's a cost for the ash removal, and then there's the tipping fees involved. What is the starting point? They said we
You
split
want the
that.
cost?
I have some numbers, but throw 'em out.
Saturday opening hours are 4 hours, 6 hours, from 8 o'clock to 2, $540. That's 4 Saturdays. 1 week long opening, 40 hours is $600. And then you got the pushbacks, and the guy comes up with the machine and keep pushing the stuff back, compacted pile, so we can put more stuff in. It's $97.50. One burn watch, 16 hours, in 8 hours is $480, comes to $1,717.50. Container loading was $156. Ashes one trip, $150. That's one trip is $150. That's just one dumpster going down. And tipping fees, 26.15 is $60, $1,569.
What was the total of that one, John?
$35.92.50.
Is that the last one we did?
That was the first one we did with the town of Deer Park. They wanna know how we got the expense.
Well, I was suggesting for simplicity, maybe, or breaking it down, can we look at there's a cost involved in keeping it open, and there's a cost involved in burning the material. Could we look at them separately to see if in other words, we have such a large cost here and problem, that in order to come to some agreement, can we dissect that and start to pick apart certain portions of it to see if there's an agreement or if there's a major disagreement, so that we at least have some common ground.
What you wanna do is take the labor cost first and then the burning and the pushback cost secondly.
Well, in burning, there's labor costs too, but in keeping it open, that's purely labor, right? And you also have to push back the pile during the month, right? So that's an equipment and a labor cost. So maybe we can just look at, okay, you have a pile there, now you're gonna burn it. Talk about how we would share those costs. What is there any thoughts on that?
Well, as I had spoke to Mike briefly about, there's a manpower problem that, the city either has to provide it, or I don't know if it's possible for Deer Park to provide part of that manpower and not exchanging money, but the manpower to do the burn wash. In other words, instead of you putting a man out there for 8 hours, another man for 8 hours, we could put one man out there at least, depending on how it can be done. It's my understanding too that it's something of that nature where Deer Park might have to provide both watches because we don't have a track machine to push back. So we have to look at that. We have another time when it's impossible to do. Everybody knows that.
My question on that would be, will we involve a labor contract for the DPW people?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're running into, I understand what you're saying.
What about insurance?
Well, Deer Park insurance.
Yeah, insurance should be
That's not the
alright.
question. It's, like Tom said, he has an overtime list and the men sign up for it. Is this something that's in their contract that's,
No, he was talking,
contractual thing?
he's not talking about the Saturday opening, he's talking about the burn itself.
Oh, I thought we were talking about the first part first. You gotta get the
No, I'm-
opening before you start burning stuff.
No, I said assume the pile's there, and now you're burning it. Let's talk about those
Alright.
costs.
You don't have machinery that you can come in and push back.
Not a track machine, and there's gotta be nails and everything else, and a retired machine wouldn't be reasonable to put in there at that point. So, what I was trying to say is if some of the costs can be offset by manpower, it's much easier to take manpower out of the budget than it is money that's not there. And we all have budget problems, we know that. I don't know whether, as you said, it involves a contract, that may be a question that has to be settled.
I don't think that would involve the CSEA contract whatsoever.
I don't
recall-
see how.
I don't recall any description in there for working the landfill on overtime.
But our people signed up for the extra money. You can't stab them in the back.
Not for the burn,
Not
not for the burn,
Everything
not for the burn.
they signed up for.
The Saturday.
For the Saturday.
That's-
Burns could be any time.
That's what my question was.
Yeah,
Like,
just
they
talk
said we're
about
beyond
the
that
burn,
now.
because
We're just
I
talking
don't
burns
think the
now.
city would want someone else up there watching what goes in
It's a
there.
liability.
Not that I don't trust.
No, I can
people,
understand.
Our people know what can go in and what can't. It's much easier
But
for
what's
us.
the liability of someone that isn't even an employee of the city up there during the burn? I think you're, you might be asking for a lot of trouble. I think you gotta search that one out first.
I do not, I'll speak off the top of my head. I do not believe you have a liability clause.
We can also check that with our insurance
The
carrier.
person doing the burn
think we both
watch
have
is
the
an
same
employee of the town of Deer Park, at the time being employed by the town of Deer Park, in the town of Deer Park.
Maybe if you had an agreement,
Yeah,
then he's uncovered under the agreement. Well, a written agreement,
But our
let him
people
say,
push back one
Yeah.
time.
not a verbal, but a written agreement that he's covered under that.
Yeah, I think whatever we decide in these meetings, we ought to firm up as written agreements for future people to deal with and.
Through the county also?
Pardon me?
Your comp, your workman's comp through the county?
Yes.
Same,
I
so.
was figuring the trade-off,
It's the same.
the money was,
No, what I was looking at is,
like a
for
pushback,
Saturday,
whatever that is.
the man hours.
They don't have machines, so that's
$500.
all the way.
That's your men's overtime. So they look for that. Your burn watch, you get 16 hours, 8 hours, that comes to 480. It's not a total wash with both. I mean, that's manpower for manpower, that's nothing you can do.
So you're saying you do all the burn washes first in lieu of us doing the Saturdays? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, they would pretty much wash each other out there, if that's, as I said, your council may have some thoughts on this also.
540 compared to 480.
Well, there's a difference there,
yeah.
I understand that.
Yeah.
The container loading, I'm gonna have to assume that when they push back, they don't get all the nails out of there. So
pull in there a lot of times with my car.
Do they load with the track machine also?
What they load with, Tom, with bucket loader,
We use the steel track when
Yeah,
it's
but-
available.
when you got it up there too.
On occasion, we've used rubber tired machines in there, and we get a flat tire once in a while, but not as often as you might think.
Well, everybody drives in there with their cars and their trucks, and ain't too many because when they clean it pretty good down, you know what I'm saying?
It's possible in that case that he's, on the same thing, we have the container loading. And down below we have the other containers, something like that, we can work it out. It has to be in writing.
There's another thing too, the container now is this price,
It goes changing.
but we got a different price now, a lot cheaper,
Okay.
way cheaper.
Yeah, that's better.
That's, we got it from American, it's over in Pine Island. And he's got a 40-yard container compared to a 30-yard container. And it's $75, right, Jim? To take
$75 transport.
Transport.
Half the, transport charge.
And
120 or something like that for a 40-yard container compared to $150 for a 30-yard container.
Well,
That's
I'm
what you get
saying.
for shopping.
The things that we could do.
It isn't online yet. It isn't online yet. We don't know. It's supposed to be that way. Till we see what happens.
We were just running some numbers. That's a good concept, unfortunately though, because we only have 5 berms, and we have 52 Saturdays, roughly. There are a few that are closed. You know, Warsh is only a few, really about a month, so we have to, that's a start.
That's a start.
You know, but you see what I'm saying, Robert?
You're hoping,
They're open
The
every
burning pit's
Saturday.
open every
every
weekend.
Saturday morning.
4 Saturdays a month, so that's,
52
figure at least
a week.
48
Yeah, you got
Saturdays.
some holidays in there probably, and
that's Christmas, 4 Saturday workdays, 4 times 6 hours, that just works out for the year.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
you only
That's
have 5
times
birds.
12 now.
that's
5
one
birds.
month.
So, yeah, that's 5 times that, I understand that.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, right here is 4 Saturdays for the openings, for the overtime, that's the total amount for that.
For this one burn, that was.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that was Warsh, on a berm, yeah. It's very, very close on a berm.
However, word of caution, if I might. What we're discussing right now is the way it has been supposed to be working since we started. There was an agreement with the town of Deer Park. Deer Park had agreed to come in with manpower and machinery to keep this going. It hasn't happened. And I'm agreeable for you doing it, but I'm not agreeable for you doing it as you have in the past.
Manpower for what?
At the burning pit, oh yeah, the town of Deer Park had agreed to bring the equipment in and manpower.
On the
On the
metal
White
side.
Woods, no, on the burning pit, way back when we started with the burning pit, that was agreeable to.
Well, one of the things,
Before your time.
one of the,
It's not your
okay.
problem. It's not your problem.
one of the
You're not
things,
telling me that.
one of
It
the
was
things
the-
we're trying to
I'm saying,
do.
but it was an
Yeah.
agreement.
That's why I wanna get things on paper.
Yeah, one of the things we have to do, whatever happens, whatever is agreed to,
It's gotta be on black and white.
put it down, get everybody to
All right,
sign
knowing
off.
that we use rubber track vehicles, could you use rubber track vehicles for pushback on an alternating basis?
If,
And you'd have to be willing to assume the risk of a flat tire.
oh, absolutely.
You
It's
know.
our machine,
Right.
if we were in there, we would have to assume that.
That would be an alternative too. Every other pushback, have the town of Deer Park do one pushback, and we would do the next pushback, and the town of Deer Park do the next pushback.
That pushbacks is hard. We might come down for about 2 hours of pushback. Because that means he's gotta come all the way from the town hall, the town barn, and down. Pushbacks is hard. What you gotta have is something that you can stay there and like load the dumpsters, or the burning is good. Or maybe you can use your machine to load the containers or something like that, work like that. But just come down, pushback might take you half an hour. But you're taking a half hour riding down and a half hour going back, it's gonna cost you more money. Cause you know, that's a long trip from the barn all the way down there.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Well, just an idea.
All right, well, so far, we got something on paper anyway. What we're saying is, that in a swap for the Saturday coverage, your part would man the berms, for us manning Saturdays. All right? I understand, everybody? But there's a question we need to check on liability, and our other concern is, you know, if we do 5 or 6 burns, that's about $3,000, $2,400 to $3,000 for burn labor, if you will, versus $6,500 for Saturday labor. So there's still a gap now. Of course, you know, there may be more burns because of more usage, but, so that's the gap there. What about, the sharing in the cost of the containers and the hauling of the ash and, you know, they're dollars that we.
I think if it's open to all residents, as you said, then I think, my council agrees with, that I think we have to pick up half the edge plus leave.
One thing here, containers only for ashes, not containers for solid waste. I mean, we have a transfer station ourselves. It's for our residents only,
I understand that.
right? And we don't want them to get in the habit of coming down and using our transfer station that's costing us $6,200 a ton. Understand? It's the containers, it's only for ashes. And that means if you have a container up there just for the ashes, it's not a container there for 1 month, you're just gonna have the container there just to load the ashes and take it over. Or one that's there and you take it over.
Right.
But just the ashes alone, that should be on a 50/50 basis.
Yeah, that's what Bob said.
If it's open up to both the city and the town, I would think it would have to be.
Okay.
Well, that's where I would think that if in fact the records are kept and it's easy enough to do a calculation, that's where a split cost could be based on use. I can understand sharing costs for the fixed costs, but the ashes is definitely a function of who's using it and how many city residents versus town residents are using it. And it sounds to me like the records would be readily available, so that might be a place where we can base it on. The city may be pleasantly surprised and find out that one burn is mostly Deer Park. But I think that might be more equitable, and it sounds like it wouldn't be too hard to gather that information together.
The only problem with that is I go up with 4 boards and a guy goes up with a pickup load full, and he gets logged the same as I do.
It's not a,
It
it's
doesn't
not a
log by
volume.
He does not
Yeah.
log the volume.
It's not
If he
by
logged
weight,
the
it's just
volume
by-
or the weight,
It's a
Just
trip.
by person.
it's just by person.
Like how
We don't
someone
have the
might come up in the
facility
car.
to do that.
Someone might come up in the
Yeah.
car and
Yeah.
throw stuff.
Yeah,
No,
that's the only.
Okay, that's good.
So, so that, your idea is good, but we would need that other part for volume or for weight or
You
something.
start going into weight, then you're involving more cost and,
You're gonna,
We don't wanna do that part.
Does that bring us back to half?
I
At
think
least
it
I'll
always
leave it on
has
the
to
table
be.
at half. Anybody have a problem, at least leaving that on the
Working
table?
with that.
So the other cost is the tipping fees, which is,
Whatever it's gonna be.
whatever it is, so, and that's a volume related tonnage cost. We said same principle applies, half of the ash,
It's gonna have to be half of the
half of the
tipping.
tipping. Okay.
So we don't know what
I
the
mean,
county's
we
gonna
may-
do on the tipping fees, you know.
We may end up with it because of the difference in hours and the manpower work. We may end up basically sharing more of the cost because we can't get the manpower there. What I'm saying is where we can use the manpower, I would like to use it, especially for this year since the is set.
Is there a hauling fee also, John? Do you know?
That's changed.
That's changed, that's down to
It'll be
$75.
$75
Instead of $100. Just,
Okay.
you save money there.
We'll
Save
pay
you
the
money.
part you save.
That's your half, huh?
That's
That's
your half?
some-
No, that's our half.
well, that's our half, we'll pay that, and you're gonna pay it.
That's some saving, isn't it?
If we can do the container loading and the hauling,
Not in operation yet.
pick up some of the different for Jervis. I mean, we'll pick it all up for get down into it, there's more cost below.
Huh?
Up here, Fort Jervis is spending 540, we're spending 480. When we come back in and split the ag, the tipping fees in half, we still have the ash hauling and the container loading in the middle. So we may be able to pick up the container loading to represent some of your costs and the same with the ash hauling.
Yeah.
Which may, in the long run, balance out for you.
So you would do the burn with your labor and then do the loading?
If
Your
that's,
labor.
if that's.
And labor and equipment.
The contract.
Well, our people do the loading now, that's a labor cost for us.
Well, that kind of balances back to the 5 burns versus the
Yeah.
52 Saturdays.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying.
yeah, whatever.
I think if I hear everybody right, what we're looking for is a 50-50 proposition. Kind of overall of the
On
total.
some things, if I'm reading, it, other things,
Well,
labor
as
swaps.
things
Be the
work
transfer
out.
of money or in-kind services.
Yeah.
Or
that's what
in-kind
that was.
services, yeah.
Right, now, while we're talking about this, in the past, Deer Park residents have paid a $5 fee, and they got those permits from you, Jimmy? I would assume that that would be waived now?
If you're gonna go for the 50/50, you know.
I'm not
all
trying to
but
give
commercial-
Shirley more work, but would
commercial
would she
separate.
then issue the permits?
Absolutely.
Commercial separate.
Would the permits be issued by your office then to
There would have
your
to be,
residents?
we'd have to work out
You'd have to
something.
identify.
Yeah, you'd have to have a permit, whether it's a charge for it or not,
Right.
that's,
You'd have to have something.
you'd have to have something identifying with the town of Deer Park residents.
You wouldn't want the people in Montague and whatnot.
No, right. I
Or
agree with that.
people outside of, still in New York, but they're not in either community, that could come in.
Greenville or.
Word travels fast. So, just to recap where I'm at so far, I think this proposal proper is, as far as the burn watch labor would be provided by Deer Park, which would help offset our cost incurred with labor for being there on a Saturday. The ash container cost itself and the tipping fees would be split 50/50. And that would include the hauling, which is $75 an hour. So those 3 fees we could split 50/50.
I thought Bob had said that they would pick up the hauling fee
We're almost gonna have to pick up the
because of
hauling
the
fee.
differential between burn
Saturday
watch
openings and the
and
burn watch, yeah.
Saturdays.
They were gonna pick up.
Oh, okay.
We're almost gonna have.
And the loading, you
Yeah.
had
And
said
the
They're
loading,
lower than
too.
we are.
Yeah.
Container loading and the transport fee.
I would think it's almost gonna have to be for.
That's only $75.
And I don't know how much they could put more than 40-yard containers, it's only allowed
Yeah.
about 30 ton
We can give you our
load.
numbers and then you can compare them.
Well,
It might be 1 load, or it might be 2 loads. You can only put, I think 30 ton in the container. Whatever, if it's 1 container. See, right now we get 40-yard.
Say 30 tons.
Yeah. So it might be just because you said 20-something tons.
Right.
That would go in 1 container.
Yeah.
Instead of paying 150, you're paying 75 for the rest.
Well, that's what I said, when the numbers are broken down, once we get a burn done, we may end up having to pick up some of the costs and then get that money to make it. What I was trying to say is provide as much manpower as possible to lower that cost budget. Well, we certainly don't want to back here.
Jim, did you notify that guy over there that we got the contract?
There's a contract being drafted right now,
Good.
right?
For that price? Going through there tomorrow.
You got most of those particulars down, Jim?
Most of them.
Do you have anything on that way, any problem with the way it's being done here, I mean, as far as you're concerned right now, or?
No, I heard you commenting on the side that, if it looks like we're working towards a 50/50 split, then we just have to get harder figures on this stuff. But
On the
that's
dollars.
general intent, yeah.
So you know the dollars you're talking about.
Right. tend to see that that really turns out to be an equitable way of, sharing.
Alright, so,
You may see use and we may have to go to more burns if more people start using them.
Right, so then that would mean an adjustment of how things
Mhm.
go as well.
which would really be mostly labor, other than
Yeah,
removal
yeah.
costs, but.
We just started this was it last August? We just got this permit.
Oh, how many burns have there been since last August, Tom?
One since,
One.
one just before that and one after.
So there's gonna be a contribution to this, what'd you say it was, $2,000 for the permit?
It cost us $33,000 from Mazzillion Hauser to make the permit out. It took them close to a year to do it. Or 6 months anyway. I know it was a long time because me and Warren went up to, New Paltz, and we went to Ellenville. They said, why don't you take your materials to Greenville to burn? Well, can they burn in Greenville? He says, yes, they can burn in Greenville because they haven't got no permit. DEC told us that. We can't shut them down, they ain't got no permit. All right, Warren?
All you needed over there to
About
vote
the
to
one
the
we got
burning
to
pit
add,
was
we
to
gotta do it
take a
again.
tax bill
Let's
with
get
it
it ready
and
to,
show your
the Deer
residents.
Park pays the next permit application.
What do you think about that?
What's the population of the city of Portugal?
Same as yours.
It is the same?
About 9,600.
Pardon me?
About 9,600. 9,060.
That's Portugal. Deer Park is in India then. 77. 96.
We're going out there.
Nine thousand
9,600.
9,060.
9,060. 9,060.
What about that $2,000?
It's
We've already
1,300 more
paid
people
for it.
than that.
Comes out about $300 a burn.
We just,
Well,
we're
they
ready
didn't
to
pick up
pay
the
for
next one, so
episode.
they're gonna pay
What does that
at the end of the 5 years.
What does that mean?
Your rate might be different,
Means I
that's
can't
not
be
set rate.
splitting the fees 50/50 when people have 1,300 more people.
Alright, we got a couple conversations going here. Okay. You had a question there,
Yes,
Tom.
I had a comment there, Mr. Warden. If you have 9,060 people and we have 7,700 people, that's a difference of 1,300 people.
Okay, we pay school taxes on our property, don't we?
I'm talking about this.
Well, it's our property.
I'm-
It's our property, the use of our property.
We pay taxes at your parking lot.
No, we don't, not there. We're just in the city. But we pay school taxes on our property, don't we?
I think if you log it and you'll check, you'll find that your urban area will put more into that burn pit than your municipal area.
And don't forget, that gives the town of Deer Park, which they just used the pit just recently. Last week they used the pit. And Tom says that's the last time they use it till they get everything resolved. I happen to hear it. But the town of Deer Park themselves use it. The road crew use it.
We're not supposed to be in there. They got
They used it last week.
They had notification that they were not supposed to
So,
be in there.
as a favor, Tom, let them use it as the last time.
Well, can't blame somebody else if you let them in your
No,
backyard.
in a nutshell, the town of Deer Park itself uses it, the work crews use it. Okay? What I'm trying to bring out.
I don't feel the population argument
No, I just was asking. I was just inquiring.
until you run the numbers.
Yes,
See
well,
what the numbers.
See what the law comes out.
right.
You wanna bring up that suggestion?
Yeah, I would, you know, there's been some concern regarding the $3,000 fee that was, taken out of the city treasury for the permit. As far as I'm concerned, maybe we can put it down, if we're gonna put this stuff in writing, that Deer Park will underwrite the cost of the permit when it's due again. Alternate the sharing of the cost of the permit. Without the permit, we don't have any burning pit.
Right, I understand it.
Okay, it's 4 or 5 years the city of Port Jervis already paid for it. I mean, you know, you help pay $300 a year to offset the initial cost, or you underwrite the cost of it down the road 4.5 years when it has to be reapplied for.
About that length of time, I'm wondering if DEC will let us have a break.
Because there was a lot of talk about it when John and I were over there.
It may not see its life of its permit now.
We were lucky, to get it as it is.
it's probably, I mean, 5 years is a long way down the road. So who knows what it's gonna be.
Whether you have the burning pit or not, you're still gonna have that cost. Yeah.
Mhm.
Because that was for the application.
Correct.
It would probably be better to
So
share
I,
in the cost
Whichever's easier.
in this permit, because you know what
Fine.
the cost is.
Gary, I think that it's something to look at after we get the hard numbers. Where are, maybe that can be offset somehow also.
They add the permit fee on after we resolve the other things.
Well, yeah, well, let's see where we are with our 53.
Okay.
If that
Yeah, that may,
1,300 that the gentleman's worried about comes out some way, maybe we'll charge our 1,300 people up to half of the permit.
okay.
That's why you made me financially fit.
That's right, $100.
Without a calculator too, right?
Hey, did we, on the, actual burn, did we address the pushing back issue that's gonna be done? with Deer
City of
Park?
Fort Years better do that
Yeah, the
because
city would have to.
Okay.
it will take them more labor to send their machine down.
Okay.
That makes sense.
I think
Yeah,
that
you
would
get an
have to
hour,
be taxed.
hour each way travel time. And you get down in.
And then you gotta stop the truck.
Alright, so on the actual burn itself, you have the pushbacks done by Port Jervis labor, container loading, Deer Park labor, transport fees, that was Deer Park full. Burning labor was Deer Park full, their manpower. The containers for the ash was 50/50, and the tipping fees was 50. That was what my notes said. Did I miss
You got
anything?
Jimmy?
They would load the container, the load for the container would be here.
Loading,
Container loaded is different.
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
The ash is different.
Deer Park would pay
It's the same thing at a whole true though, by bringing the machine down to load the container.
It takes longer to load a container, because the container's down the hole, and the burner pit's on. Is that right, Tom, or they put
Half
the
a day,
container up on top?
Good half day.
Take it right down in the hole. It's better than a half a day to load the container.
So you're-
Yeah. Are there any other costs associated with the burn pit we haven't discussed?
Well, that hurts.
That's from the fire, nightlights.
Now, maybe eventually there'll be a water main run that way at the County of Orange. They talked about it last year, last March. And they're talking about putting a water main up that way to the transfer station. We'd have a hydrant there in case we ever needed it at the burning pit. And there would be a hydrant on the other end. And then that's required to test. They need clear water. They come down, they got the plans all laid out, lines, everything surveyed for a water main, but the county got no. Last year in March it was go.
Deer Park have anything else? Can we actually move on to another item on the agenda, huh? What we'll do is write this up and then get it in writing and start to, talk about the words, I guess, of the agreement.
What about the permits? They're gonna issue their own permits to their people?
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
brought up.
I thought Bob said yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think that would be the easiest, definitely.
Didn't you used to do that, Shirley, at one
Yes,
point?
they did years ago, when you moved to the,
He knows most of
Sure,
it.
they do.
Jim might not know.
That would
Put
be
this in the
issued by
paper,
you.
if the
and-
person doesn't have a permit,
Right, which would mean you.
he goes
the
back
fees
and gets
are up
one,
to
or
you,
he
and
doesn't dump.
That's
That's
your.
right.
That's your choice.
Right.
Right, if you wanna charge a fee or don't, that's, right.
Yeah, but don't you think we should have a little control over those permits? One person could buy one permit and pass it all over Deer Park.
I think there has to be a plate number off of the vehicle.
You would have to have a plate number.
That won't affect the city
we
at all.
kept a list of the names.
If
as
it's
to
only
people
Deer Park
purchasing.
people using it, there's no fee involved that the city is going to get. Any fee that's charged would stay in Deer Park.
But I think what Rex is saying is that the permit should also have the license number of the vehicle they're
You
gonna
have the
use.
license plate
Yeah.
number.
So that,
Oh, it's gotta have the
so I
person's
can't
name.
take my permit and hand it to you, and you take your load of junk
It's
down
gonna
and
have to
have
have
my
the
permit.
person's name and the type of vehicle, just like the list we have provided now. Don't we have a list of the Deer Park
Yep.
people?
Yeah, we do.
With a car and a plate?
Can I ask the audience to please refrain from discussing these?
I think it's necessary to have a permit with the license plates for that vehicle, so if they swap it, they get swapped.
How does the city handle it? How does the
Same money.
permits?
We have
We
the
don't have
name
no-
and, you have a
On the Deer Park
1985
version,
pickup
license
truck
plate.
with a
Okay,
plate
yeah,
number.
so it should be the same.
Same procedure we're doing now. Yeah.
When I come in, get the permit, they told us the vehicle that
Right.
was bringing in, the license plate number and their name. And that was to be checked when they came to the.
The guy comes with a pickup or a dump truck with, the guy that's supposed to be with a pickup, he don't tow.
Okay.
So he goes back to Deer Park and gets
No,
the rate.
on the demolition, Tom, if you got a house to tear down, we discussed that. For the burning pit at one time. Say, you're in a house or a small building you wanna tear down, it's gotta be just plain wood. You gotta get Tom's gotta look at it for the size. Say the guy's got a big, was it front porch or anything like that, Tom?
The intention was interior floor area, up to porches.
But no sheet rock, no other stuff that's burnable stuff. It has to strip of everything, that wood can go in there.
And that's a special permit for a special fee, $2 per square foot of interior floor area.
We're taking down the
The demolition, yeah.
bringing in.
That would apply to Deer Park also, then.
Well, right now, your motion limits it to the city of Port Jervis.
Okay.
If you're gonna extend it, I presume it would be extended on the same term.
Yeah, that could be a large,
John, on a demolition though, didn't the DEC tell us as part of the C&D material can't be burned? Anything that's been used?
Well, all that stuff was up there, gee.
I know, but they couldn't be certain parts of construction. Remember we were talking about pallets and they had to be so forth and had to be new, they couldn't have been used and everything else. And the nails, et cetera. Remember we were up in the Bulwark and
What I'm saying, we just took a couple houses out of Fort Jervis and used it.
But we have a provision for that, at $2 a square foot now, right?
Right, exactly.
And
that
we
for
just
the
did,
burning pit or for just the demolition?
no, that's the grant, burning.
As long as the wood tar paper's off it, no tar, as long as they follow the instruction of the DPW director. How much a cubic feet are inside the house measures.
They were saying if a Deer Park resident wanted to do a demolition and use the burning pit, they'd have to come before for that, so they could apply the same charges, because that would.
they'd have to come to the demolition permit.
Right.
No, for us.
No,
No.
the disposal
They just
permit.
have
They don't need to get a
an
permit
estimated
from us
cost
to demolish in Deer
dispose
Park,
of it.
but if they wanna dispose of it,
Get rid
the
of,
burning pit.
to dispose of this stuff.
What's,
Yeah, the
what's the
cost.
purpose of that? That's to,
Because it's a high volume.
but then it would make sense for the city to be taking in that money for the high volume for sharing the cost on local disposal. For sharing the cost of, why should Deer Park residents pay twice?
Well, now you're catching up with what you owe us for the 52 weeks that we sit up there on Saturdays. However-
If it's in the calculation, I don't have any problem with it.
However-
But it ought to be in the calculation.
However,
that's all.
if it's demolition material coming from the town of Deer Park, just because we're getting a fee for it, wouldn't offset it. What we're trying to do with the demolition, with that fee is, you could have somebody in the town of Deer Park that's in the demolition business. And he could go to your city hall and pick up a permit and continually, day after day, bring that material in. That's what we're trying to.
Sure, but then if that's the case, and.
Not for Deer Park, for Port Jervis also.
Right. But then if that's the case, I think Deer Park ought to collect those, we ought to set a policy that if you're doing demolition
control, then the city of Fort Jervis has no control of what goes in there. The city of Fort Jervis has to have control of the burning pit. Once we lose that burning pit, what I'm trying to say, even though it does cost you a few, whoever it is, a few bucks, it's better to have that burning pit than not have it. If they destroy a building, demolish it like they did across the street, he's paying about $900 or $800 container to take that out. Because he's just knocking the building down. But if they hand take it down, or whatever they wanna take it down slow and peaceful, and take it up to the burning pit in a nice truck, and dump it, where you have a lot of volume, then take the other stuff to where he's saving money. We're saving it.
No, I understand that. The point I'm trying to make is that if in fact we're going down the line here, essentially we're splitting the cost 50-50 on this stuff. That if in fact there's additional fee to be collected because of the high volume, it ought to be applied towards that 50-50 split somewhere. When the city collects it, fine, but then it ought to come off the top of the disposal fees. That's what it's trying to offset. It's trying to offset that volume. So somehow, somehow that fee should be applied to.
But I think when you look at the numbers, for us to have it open every Saturday and 1 week a month, that's about $13,000 a year, Michael, is it? Every Saturday, 1 week a month. Now, for you to offset that with the labor cost of the burn and some of those other things, I think when we run those numbers, there's still gonna be a gap there. That gap could maybe be, we'll issue that demolition permit.
Fine,
and
as long
we
as
get to
it's
keep
taken
that.
into consideration, that's
Yeah,
all I'm saying.
Yeah, demolition
able to
permit,
tell more
but they
about
took
it
the
once we do
material
it.
Wayne,
out of town, they didn't take it up here.
it's gotta be under
Another
the
way.
direction of Tom. That costs Tom to go up there, his time and everything, to go up there and look at the building or whatever it has to be.
That wouldn't for the
Understand?
disposal.
He's gotta tell them, explain to them and everything else.
Oh, okay, that's.
Something to look at.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's the bottom line, it should pay for
I
itself.
wouldn't have a problem with what Mike said.
That's
I
what
would
I
have
think
no
is right.
problem with that.
Everybody wants to be paid for it.
That's all we're after. We don't wanna make money on the burning pit, but if we don't want it costing us.
We don't wanna lose money.
We don't wanna fix it.
Remember now, the white goods?
Wanna move
No,
on
we're
to the
still,
white
gotta
goods?
burn. We're still burning here.
Okay,
We're moving on to the white goods, aren't we?
white goods file. John, you wanna talk about this?
Yeah, I suggested we move the white goods pile down into the city of Fort Jervis. The reason for that is we have no control. We get tires up there, nothing from the town of Deer Park or from the city of Fort Jervis. Okay? And we gotta dispose of the tires. The last time Tom took tires down to the county was in November, 4 truckloads, I forgot, maybe close to $800 across the city of Fort Jervis. But that's just one part of it. If we have it down near the burning pit, we could clean off the other end. But my biggest thing is, we have no agreement with the town of Deer Park whatsoever. Here comes the push-ups again, okay? Every time there's a pile that's spread out, we gotta push it up, takes us money. We have no agreement with you. Say 6 months down the road from now, this guy with the white goods come in and say, I want $20 a ton. There's Fort Jervis at 80 or 90 ton of white goods. What town of Deer Park is gonna say, we have no agreement.
But that's why we need it in writing.
That's why we need it in writing.
An agreement, we'll split the cost of that.
Well, that don't cost nothing.
Well, whatever it does.
But it does
Come up
cost
with a
us,
figure.
it does cost us for the push-ups.
Everything costs
They're
one
coming
way or
down,
another.
they're coming down to load the ashes and that, why can't they do a push-up
They
then?
can't, because it's a different time.
Okay.
Well, you go up there now, I was up there today.
Yeah.
The pile is spread out. When people come in, oh, there's a nice clean spot, they would just bag up there and dump it. And then Tom's gonna send a man up maybe next week and push everything up.
Well, they have, I know we have.
You
at this
tried.
point- No, I know we have at this point, but we have agreements with 2 of our junk like that, we want each individual, so we take this stuff for nothing. The only reason I see that they need to dump there is the fellow that's hauling it out of that in White Lake. Gave everybody a lower price. Sometime back when everybody.
$10 a ton.
$10 a ton, he gave everybody him to be able to gain a little of his money back from the he gave us. That would be the reason we would take it there, if it would help that guy.
Well, it's nothing saying that the guy from, like, up in Bethel, New York, 'cause I got that guy to come down here. Nothing to say that he won't come in next month, month after, whatnot. We have a year agreement with him. Say that, well, I want $10, $20 a ton. But we have nothing with the town of Deer Park. And we know that town of Deer Park people are bringing stuff up there and dropping it off just as well as the city of Fort Jervis and the surrounding area. And that's what we ought to have an agreement on.
I didn't know they were, because I had already told them to take it to the pre-judgment, so I never told them to take it to the, if they do, that's something that, I don't know, after the last one we had around, that was it.
So Bob, are you saying that we do or we do not wanna enter some sort of agreement to use that whitewood file in Fort Jervis?
If it's to the fellows at B&H that's taking the metal away, if they want the metal for him, to help him, I would say yes, because he did some benefits for us by taking this stuff away at no cost, or a minimal cost, what it was costing us $60 a ton to have it done. So I don't like to see him get cut short, because he did something for both municipalities that helped us out.
He wasn't able to sell it, wasn't it about the same time the junkyard started taking it for free?
No,
He took it a year.
he's the guy that calls him and take it for free. He come in for $10 a ton. All right? And that's when
I'm having
Proby
trouble
and them
hearing both
started.
conversations.
Right, right. So now, but my point is, if they get too much white goods and stuff in certain places, you might say, well, I need $20 a ton or $10 a ton, and we're stuck with some huge white goods out there in town of Deer Park. Because people gotta have it coming to the transfer station, they gotta have it going to the white good pile.
I would say, basically, Deer Park, I don't care if we can work out some kind of agreement on it, but I know they have two places that are taking it now.
If, yeah, you got a point there. But if they start charging, I want you to make an agreement with the city of Fort Jervis that you will help pay for what is up there in the landfill, like the pile. Only when they start charging.
Or if we start using it? We're using it.
But they're using it now. You people are using it now.
Some people are using it.
Some people are using it now. I mean, if it's some,
They're
no,
all
it's
not
not a
going to the
budget, it's a budget
junkyard.
thing, but it might not ever happen for 2 years. But I'm glad he comes in for nothing, and I'm glad we got him down here,
Absolutely.
and it saved the taxpayers a lot of money.
Now, in that case, if you need a push-up on that, rubber tire machine should be done.
If,
You can run a rubber tire machine down in 15 minutes. That's the problem.
if they're called, because sometimes they don't get called.
When you make it call.
Called,
If they're called.
called down.
Well, if it's just a push-up, I mean, that shouldn't be something that's so rushed it has to be done right away. But if they get the call and it needs to be picked up, or somebody contacts their vehicle, there's gonna be somebody that's on call.
All right.
Tom, how often do you have to push that pile up? Every couple of weeks, once a month, every 3 days, what? What's the, I have no idea.
That's a tough question, the way you asked it, because you said, how often do we have to do it?
Yeah.
We have so much room there that it wouldn't have to be done once a month, but we do it more often to keep it neat and orderly. I dare say it's straightened up once every other week. But
Twice a month?
that's our,
Well, couldn't we just alternate it with Deer Park? We do it 2 weeks, and 2 weeks later they do it, something like that? Just do it automatically?
On a certain day.
On a certain day, or
Why not
set it
every
up,
other
or
month?
Yeah, a month would be,
alternate months, or whatever? That seems,
Sure, it takes a month to sort it out.
An agreement just in case, if one's gonna start charging, they're all gonna start charging.
yeah,
Oh, I think that's true.
I understand.
Because, but
it would be
he
easier
will
to
never
figure
charge
month
as much.
by month instead of relying on every 2 weeks, I would think, right?
Probably easier schedule it that way.
That way.
He did, real did. He did the taxpayers a service.
Which way, Tom, would you recommend? Every other week, or every other month, if we alternated with Deer Park. Which is more feasible to you?
In other words, if we done it twice a month,
I don't care in the least.
Good recommendation.
Set it for every
If
other
things
month.
turn out,
I would
turn
say-
out that we need to straighten it up a little more often than that. And if so, I'll do it once and then I'll call the highway department and ask them to do it another time.
What if we say, this month is yours, and then if it needs it 10 times a month, you gotta do it. If it
Well, that's a
needs
good
it-
rate.
Yeah.
I think that's one of those
Track
items.
of when the months we've
I
ever
think
used.
that's one of those items that DPW, I think that's something they must have to handle. I mean, we can pass the word to them, but they have to handle that between each other. Because they're gonna be the people.
If it's
that
three
know.
Yeah, but
pushes
what
a
I'm
month,
saying is you
that's,
could tell-
that's just the way it goes, that's the
Yeah,
volume
they-
or whatever, you know?
Whatever it is that needs to be done is done during that month.
Cause you don't know what
Yeah.
month's gonna be a heavy month or a light month, so it's just gonna be the way it falls.
Spring and
We'll
year
start it
should
out
be
on a certain month and that will alternate every month.
No problem with that.
Depends how many people's hot water boilers are blowing.
What it, now, you're talking about, there's no cost now for removal.
But just in case there is a cost, I'd like to have an agreement, because it'll not only cost, you go to Troby, plus you go to Brim, and it's gonna cost us, but he'll be a lot cheaper, what you have been.
Well, when you,
Then, after, if it does come to a cost, then the town of Deer Park will pay the first cost. If we decide to get out, then we'll have to fence that off for our own use.
you know,
Simple as that.
in order to put some language about a cost, you need to say what portion of the cost, right? If there was a cost, what portion of the cost?
Well,
would
it's,
be your
it's
first-
about a 50/50, because
50/50.
I would think it would have to
To
be.
go along with the
Both-
same line of reasoning with the others.
Both municipalities are using it. I'd say it have to be.
You may find once this is set up, the guys that are taking it for nothing, they'll say, won't take it anymore.
Yeah, but they agree to do it. But it's not, it's not even reasonable for us to have
Yeah.
somebody in Westbrookville and bring it all the way to
Yeah,
Port Jervis
okay.
when we have one right there in
Yeah.
Kennebec. That's the unfortunate.
Yeah.
But if this fellow's taking it for nothing, we're that close, I
Yeah.
think we should have it. It did work.
and they're sure making prices come down, didn't they?
Got it right down to nothing.
Now, we wanna put language in this, agreement that allows, Deer Park after, if there is a cost, to, have the option not to use it and move the white goods pile into the
We're
water?
not moving now,
Okay.
we're moving it now anyway.
But if for some reason Deer Park said,
We moved it.
we're not using
Down
it,
by the burning pit.
By the burning pits.
Yeah, you're going right by it. You're going right by the burning pit, you got a white goods pile.
yeah, it's consolidated in one area. But would Deer Park want that out? Is that,
With option to get out.
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
I think you give the option both ways.
To
You know,
cancel
in a
the
normal contract, the 30-day cancellation agreed by both parties or whatever, you know, escape clauses are necessary.
Little escape clause.
Yeah.
30 days notice in writing.
Yeah. To let the attorney.
After it's cleaned up. After it's cleaned
Yeah,
up.
after it's
Yeah.
cleaned up.
Not before it's cleaned
Yeah.
up.
Not during pushback.
Is there anything else on the white goods?
Now,
That's
what
it.
if that, agreement, we put that it's gonna look to the Alright, Port Jervis and Deer Park on DPW to, decide on the month
Decide
they're
on
gonna
the-
take?
Yeah, we
We're
could
gonna
say,
alternate.
daily scheduling or monthly scheduling could be between appropriate city departments.
Oh, either highway superintendent probably would, or our DPW director.
Okay. Anything else?
Well, you know, I think if a problem comes up with this in any way, I think we have to have someone to go to, whether we go to the mayor, we go to Gary, we go to Tom Brandon, if it arises in any of these contracts, so that we don't end up bashing each other apart in this one, so.
I would think normally it's any problem, you would go to that department head in your town, would go to the department head in our town, he'd bring it to either, if it was a DPW problem, to Gary, and Gary and I would talk, and same, if we had a problem, we'd call your highway superintendent, and he'd talk to whoever his, immediate is. That sounds, on any problem, that would be a good,
I'd rather have us talking to each other than about each other.
that's right. spots on the White Cliffs, halfway there. Now we're on the Reservoir Road. Anybody wanna summarize this issue from Fort Jervis's perspective?
August sixth last year, we had that road closed for 1 year, it's been here 1 full week. Locked on both ends. At Reservoir Road. It was legally locked. We had a letter from your corporation counsel, Mr. Holly, on the week of August 10th or something like that, asking us why we did it. Who authorized it? Well, it was done, it was locked up August 6th, for a year and 1 week, not quite a week. It was August 13th of this year, we had a meeting, or the 12th, and the 14th it was open. So, actually it was open, it was closed for 1 year, legally closed. And we've been paying taxes on that road. It's 1.5 miles long. We've been paying taxes on that road since we've had it. School taxes and stuff. Whatever we gotta pay on it, we've been paying. And I think it's legally ours. You have a tax map that doesn't show that road. But you have a map in the town of Deer Park, which you get oil and chip money from the state, shows that road, because anybody can put roads on a map. We get taking oil and chip money from the state. I say that road is legally ours.
I'm gonna disagree with that, so I think.
Well, you can disagree with it.
Something that's gonna happen.
I bought a map from your office in 1983. It don't correspond with your maps. It don't show that road. One of your old maps. Take a look, it don't show that road. It's bought right from your office down in 1983.
It's a zoning map, right there.
Whatever.
Okay. I don't think that map is really showing the roads anyway.
It shows all the roads but that one. Every road they shows it, but they don't show that one.
I have a 1968 Department of Transportation map that shows me the Deer Park down road, so.
Have you got, the deeds to it? You- wait, I'm telling you, Bob,
I'm saying the attorneys can handle it, 'cause I don't wanna say.
Bob, I'm saying,
Let's
not,
skip over the road, let the attorney say
well, wait a
that.
minute, I'm saying, recently, up in the town of Deer Park, they were gonna widen the roads. Well, we can't widen the roads because we don't even know who owns them. I say we own that road, because we legally closed it for 1 year in less than a week.
And I say they were in there before the year was up, so.
No, they weren't.
Okay, well, this is one of those issues that, we're not gonna resolve.
Well,
with
wait.
just, what they're
Mel
saying
Decker
now.
locked it at August 6th. He locked it. August 14th, and that's over a year. The locks were taken off. You miscalculated because it wasn't brought back to you in time.
Okay, why don't we, I guess we're far apart on this one. We feel we own the roads, you feel you own the roads.
Right.
Let the lawyers own their money.
That's right. So
Can I just bring one thing else, and it doesn't pertain to this road, but I noticed at your meeting on Monday, you ordered your highway department to plow Box Bomb, which was a seasonal road. Are you coming all the way through past our reservoir system on Box Bomb when you plow?
They would have to go all the way through, yes, because the fire department has asked that we do both of those.
Wow.
Every plow goes right.
There's a major problem if they plow it. I don't think we have a problem, but if they start putting sand and salt down there, it could jeopardize our water system, particularly the salt.
In the same way as this road there, what they were put down, we're gonna get a heavy rain, and that rain water is gonna wash all that sand and gravel down into our reservoirs, and we paid $5 million for that reservoir, filtration plant up there, and it's not right. That road should be shut off, period.
What happens around the, never say
our concern, we live in Port Jervis. That's our concern, Port Jervis.
I don't
I'm
care
saying
if
if
you
this is-
plow,
if
but
this is-
I'm scared to death if you put salt on it.
But what I'm saying is if this is a really a solution to the problem, don't you think that they would have a problem setting out doing that?
I haven't seen their roads.
Don't, there's another,
They may have a storm sewer that takes it away, I don't know.
Bob,
I don't
just
know.
like the town, just like Dot, right down in Tri-State by exit 23, Route 23 and 6. They had a sand and salt pile right next to the brook. Am I right or wrong? They had it there for years. They can do what they wanna do, but we can't do what we wanna do.
I don't care that it's plowed, I just worry about the salt.
You might have to check into that.
There you go.
Because of the way our water, that's a straight drop from number 2, from box bottom to number 1, that's straight downhill all the way.
Could I ask a question? As a new member of the council, I don't know what this controversy is all about. And I know
This isn't a controversy.
the controversy about the Reservoir Road. I don't understand what the whole thing is about.
Just a few people wanna go through there to go hunting in the wintertime. They put up a squawk, understand? But that road was closed for a year and pretty near a week.
Who owns the property
We
adjacent
own
to
it.
it?
We own 2,200 acres up there. And that's my contention, that we own it, we're paying taxes on it, they're collecting chip money from the state of New York on it.
The issue, Tom, is, it basically boils down to, we feel that the road is ours, if we wanted to close it off so no one could go on our land.
And they're throwing
we
tires
feel
down
we
there,
should have that.
I-
rubbish,
I see, all right.
by our reservoirs.
Isn't there some kind of a law, if you close something for a year and a day, it's your property? Something like that, a road that has had legal access?
I think we're dwelling now,
There is a law.
I think we should have the lawyers look into this.
Then we can move on, because this is
We can
gonna
move
be,
on.
We get our lawyers to
Yeah,
call each
let
other, I
them
guess.
run this out.
So we agree to disagree on 3,
Right.
Good.
at least we agree. The other item on the agenda was the Joint Cable Commission, which, really brought to the table by Deer Park, so. Someone wants to,
We had back, I think it was 3 years ago, we had a joint cable committee. At that time worked out very well. I think it worked out well for both municipalities because we had someone at that time that was actually on the Port Jervis Council and worked with us very well. And we worked with her at the same time, and I think she made a great deal of difference in the amount of cable that was traced, the quality of it and everything. I think we have much more power as 2 municipalities working together in this area with cables than we would separately. And I think a joint commission would be a lot better. If there's a problem in the city of Port Jervis, the heading's on Deer Park. Make it down here maybe a week or signal or something by meeting jointly. We found many small problems that no one really knew existed on that cable commission. FM problem and everything else, and a lot of them were resolved because the joint commission went directly to them, and they knew they had to fight physically to municipalities instead of one city. It worked out well, I think.
was there a commission in Deer Park? We have a cable commission.
Well, I'm the liaison, so we
Very well.
advertised for one, and we really never got enough people to go on a cable commission.
But when this joint commission, was this one body that had people on it from Deer Park and the city of Port Jervis, or was it 2 separate bodies that came together for contracting with
It
one
was,
body?
it was basically one body. There was a liaison from the Deer Park Council, and I think basically at that time, I think the mayor of Port Jervis appointed the people to the commission, and basically he appointed people from Deer Park and people from Port Jervis. That's what he did. I don't know if they had any specific number of people they had to have on there. Might be able to look back.
Do you have a cable commission now?
No. We haven't had, no, as I said, 3 years ago, yes, we had a joint cable commission.
Well, I think it would behoove you to appoint some people to a cable commission representing Deer Park. We met, I'm the liaison with the cable commission from the council. And we met last evening, and Mr. Siegel, the president of Access 8, is here. We agreed that we would like to have a joint meeting with him to see what the purpose would be. Wasn't that correct? Isn't that how we came out?
Yeah, if I could just take a moment, I think that what we agreed to was that since Fort Jervis has a separate contract, to be similar to each other. And I know that we're gonna try in our next contract to shorten our contract years. And if we could shorten our years to where we get a contract that falls at the same time, at that point, it might be beneficial to have a joint cable commission. There are issues, however, that are just as important to you as they are to us that we could talk about. One, for example, we voted last night to write a letter from our commission to our federal legislators to support deregulation or re-regulation of cable. Something like that could be something that a joint commission could talk about and encourage your residents as well as ours to do. But when you start talking about contracts and they're very specific to each different territory, maybe there would not be a benefit.
When is your contract? What's the difference? Ours is up this year.
93, I
Ours
think.
is up in 93.
There's people you can get that will negotiate your contract for you for a percentage of what they get from the cable company too. That's all they do. It might be worth looking into also.
And
The cable
let me throw
commission gives
something
you
out to you,
complaints,
because
but this other guy can
I think
negotiate.
we might be getting away from what they want. Would it be still possible for Fort Jervis to continue its cable commission, but to form a separate group, and that Deer Park would have their own cable commission, a separate group of both municipalities to discuss problems that pertain to
That's what I was alluding to. And
That's what I just said. I said, if you appoint a commission, we would be glad to sit and meet with them and
A commission is basically what I'm saying is we still require at least 5 people.
and how many do we have, Steve?
we have 6 or 7 with the president.
We can get 5 people, that's what I'm saying. Maybe if we advertise it again,
But don't you just appoint them?
they gotta wanna serve. They have to
Yeah.
get on.
Need more than a warm body.
Take your calendar, get on the board.
It just seems like out of 7,700
We were
people
lucky,
or
we had a lot
whatever,
of people show up
you
to
can't
that
find
meeting.
5 people who would be interested in something like that?
We can advertise to get it right, but it's the last.
Couldn't get it over television, Bob?
Do you have a lot of cable subscribers, or do a lot of people have dishes up there?
There's a lot of cable.
Well, wait till the cable goes off, and then
Yeah,
the first
really.
5 phone calls you have to play are your new cable commission.
It seems very strange, but that's.
What happens?
No,
When you're on tape,
know,
you can
that's
put it on
just,
television.
I'm new at this also, but that's what we came up with an agreement. The fact that the
Yeah.
contracts don't coincide is a problem as we see it right now, but there are problems that we could work with you and.
The contract really doesn't affect us. Cable business is not negotiating the contract. I don't know whether they.
Well, the
I don't
cable-
know whether they do for you.
Well, the cable commission will make recommendations to the council regarding,
Recommendations.
right, and the same thing could happen with you. I mean, that we would hope would be, they would be thinking, no, they would make recommendations.
But how
That's
do you-
why I say
Well-
joint cable commission to make recommendations. It's not doing the contract, basically they're an advisory board working together, they work together strictly for the city or for the city or town, or the commission is, when there is a problem, between the towns. Yeah, and you have to write some letters or something, you can.
My concern is, Bob, if you're talking joint cable commission, and if Deer Park can't get 5 people, let's say, to serve on its own commission,
We're gonna be
then
doing
what do you mean when you say joint commission? Because I would think that it would have been, let's hypothetically say, a 5-person commission for Deer Park to sit with the 5-person or 6-person commission from Fort Jervis. That's a joint commission. Or are you looking for possibly a council representative liaison from Deer Park to interact with the Fort Jervis Cable Commission? And I think that can be done without really having a joint resolution.
Yeah, I would, liaison is one thing I would like to say, but if we could get, if we could get 2 or 3 to join, fine, but, 4 people doesn't make a cable commission.
No, I understand that, so just, you know,
If
if
we
we,
had,
Cable
no,
commission now.
if we, that's it, if we had enough people to make a
Mhm.
cable commission meet jointly, I don't have a
Okay.
problem with it. We'll give that a shot again.
yeah.
If it doesn't though, I'd like to see us work together.
I think the concept is there, I think you've gotta go back and
Get the
draw
body.
those people in before we can really sit down and say whether there's gonna be a joint or disjointed, but meet, you know what I'm saying?
Well, in the past it was that way. I think there was a larger cable commission at that time too. I think there was like 9 members on it. And I think there was 3 or 4 out of
That's
here.
about 6
Yeah.
years ago.
No, it was our
Yeah.
Gray was mayor then, about 2
Yeah.
years ago.
No, Connie Navari was the representative, and at least 6
Doesn't
years
seem it,
ago.
See, that's where your 1,300 people are gonna come in on this cable.
Well, good idea.
Yeah,
So what we're saying is, if Deer Park can get some people to,
Or
Their own-
if they wanna send a liaison to our commission.
second Wednesday.
And at least open the dialogue and
Third
get,
Thursday.
and get the feel of
For your
it.
information, we meet the 3rd Thursday of the month, and we meet right here.
Bob, if I could suggest something, if you can get together a group of people that would like to be on your cable commission, we would probably be very happy to provide any information, expertise that we might have, because we're a very active organization. And then when you got that together with our help, we would be glad to have a liaison at any point, but we would also like to have joint meetings at some schedule, what we agreed to, so that we could have common interest items shared.
At that time, what happened, the cable commission and Access 8 had to split. And, it was unfortunate, I think we ended up with 1 representative on the cable commission because someone wanted to go to Access 8. But there was just no replacement, that's what happened.
Yeah, I remember.
At
So what
the time,
we're
it was
saying
still
is
a joint.
we would allow a liaison from their board,
Excellent.
and that would be a start, and then if
And
you
two,
can
if
form
he
a
can
group.
find 2 or 3 people that would be interested, they would sit down and go through the workings of what they're doing.
Because like Barbara was saying, in order to have a joint commission, you have to have first a commission
Yeah,
join
right,
together.
right.
Well, no, but maybe I misspoke when I said a joint commission. It was 1 cable commission that served both the township.
Yeah.
I think the fact that we got into different contracts probably caused this.
Yeah,
That
might be
we
okay.
were always in there.
Oh, okay.
it would be nice to get the contracts similar dates, so you would have that in negotiation.
Stanley makes a very valid
It was in the
point.
workings.
We're in a 5-year contract now, and, you know, leaves a lot to be desired.
I think Bob's right. I think when Access 8 became a reality, a lot of people off the commission
Yeah.
went to Access 8
Yeah.
and left the
Diluted,
commission.
yeah.
If I could interrupt again, that might be an advantage, because Access 8 is gonna get very much more active in the town of Deer Park. And if you could encourage or offer to some people from the town of Deer Park to join Access 8, which really reports to our cable commission, if they were involved in Access 8, then they might have the enthusiasm to be members of the cable commission, so that there would be a level that Access 8 in the town of Deer Park could work toward. And the two might mesh together. And we're very close right now to doing all of your council meetings live as we are here. So this might be an excellent opportunity to marry the two together and make both organizations stronger with the same people.
Stanley, couldn't you advertise it on television sometime? You know, for town-
Sure.
I think they do a lot
You
of
got
that.
Carol Eckies
Especially-
and, Mrs. Bird, Mrs. Bird,
Carol Eckies and
Go
Mrs.
and,
Aversa.
get a hold of them.
Well, I think they advertise for people to come. Good people for your commission.
We have, matter of fact, you know,
Access 8, I don't think this is for me.
if I could sell something here, and I guess I usually sell something. We have a telethon on March 7th. That might be an excellent opportunity for you to come on with whomever and talk about that specific issue. And we'll give you all the time you want to do it. And there would be no better place than on Access 8 TV to try to sell a cable commission. That will be March 7th, so let us know. We'd be glad to fit
Did
you
they
in.
go
looking
back
for a
to where you
donation.
can have the Access 8 people and the commission together?
Yeah.
Can you be part of the Access 8 and the cable commission now?
We believe you can.
See, we have this split here.
We believe you can.
Maybe we can research that, see,
I believe that research is going on.
Who's president of Access 8? So you have Deer Park people that are on Access 8 now, right?
The Cavalecchis, and this is the first.
So you can,
As a matter of fact, we're trying to encourage people from Matamoros and Montague, because we serve them too, so from wherever we
Damn echo
serve,
in here.
whatever areas we serve, that's where we're trying to find volunteers. We'd love to have all of your shoots be done by Deer Park people, all of Matamoros shoots be done by Matamoros people. That's what we're striving for right now, so we would encourage any of your residents to get involved in either.
We'll do that at our very next meeting.
okay, that's it. The last item on the agenda was to establish the next meeting date. And I think we just heard another date come up for, telethon, so maybe what you do is, at our next, we could be prepared at our next council meeting to propose some dates and let these folks.
The other
go back.
thing is, when can we get to the attorneys and hear about this Reservoir Road situation? What's the time frame of that?
I have to talk to,
Okay, Corporation Council tomorrow morning.
I got one thing to say. I didn't like the remark Mr. Cover made on television the other day, but now that we got rid of Mr. Roberts, we got rid of excess.
we came here for a purpose of trying
Well,
to
I didn't
solve
like that
problems.
remark.
Okay.
That's next
I
on
don't
the
do your
agenda.
That's
comment.
next on the agenda.
That's next on the agenda.
He said it on television, I said.
Okay, meeting adjourned.
I don't need to wear hearing aids, so don't be hitting that hammer.